Hi everyone, I'm Tricia Morris from Club Scrap and welcome to the show. You know, this French memo board with a harlequin pattern is really popular nowadays, but I was sort of mystified as to how I could actually make that work. And I finally sat down and figured out how to make it. All of the tools and supplies that I used to make this page are my favorites, and none of them require any electricity. So I've come up with a very simple pattern, easy measurements for you to remember so that you can create this for yourself. Let me show you how. First, I'm going to start out with a sheet of cardstock that actually has a texture to it because that's what's going to help us really enhance the technique that we're going to show you today. And then I need a ruler and a pencil, some other really basic tools you don't need to plug in. Let's go ahead and position our ruler at the bottom of our page, and I'm going to make a couple of important measurements. We're going to make a measurement at the 3-inch mark, 3 inches in from this edge, and 3 inches in from this edge at 3 and 3. Now on this end, I'm going to measure up 8 inches from the bottom edge and make a mark, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of my page. So at the bottom, in by 3, and then on the side, up 8 inches. What I'm going to do is use my ruler to connect this 3-inch mark to the 8-inch mark as carefully as I can. Just keep aligning it till you get them pinpointed. Take your pencil, and on the front of your cardstock, not on the back, we want our guidelines on the front, we're going to make a line. Now notice I drew a line on each side of my ruler. Now I happen to be using a ruler that's 2 inches wide, so I don't have to do any more measurements. I can make my slanted lines easily with the help of the ruler. And now I'm going to turn it over to the other side, connect this 3-inch mark up to the 8-inch mark, and I have to duplicate the same exact angle. And I'll work my way down this way until I have this entire sheet of paper with those pencil marks that we were looking for. So let me show you what it's going to look like when we have all of our lines drawn. And here is our beautiful pattern. It's all completed, it's all consistent, every angle is the same in both directions, and that's what you're looking for in making this pattern. So at this point, I started to get a little creative and decided to transfer this exact pattern to a scratch sheet of paper. I recreated that same exact pattern with the same measurements, and then I chose to just cut out one of the diamonds. And this that remains will actually act as a mask, or almost like a stencil for us, because we're going to do a little trick. I'm bringing in some ink, and I'm going to place this diamond over one of the diamonds on my page so that it lines up perfectly on all edges and corners and points. I'm going to take an ink pad and directly onto the paper, I'm going to color in this opening with the ink, and look what has happened. The texture of the paper has now been revealed, so when I pull it away, it gives it a very dimensional look with very little effort. You'll repeat that process, masking and inking each diamond that you choose to create a pattern like what we've achieved here. And I love that. It's just beautiful. And it still is just one single sheet of paper. All right, the next thing that you'll commonly see on a French memo board style piece is that they've covered these lines with some ribbon. Well, I put on my list of things to do, run to the store and get ribbon. But then I decided, no, maybe I won't do that. Maybe I'll just create my own ribbons out of paper. Let me show you how we're going to do that. Here's the paper we're going to use to make the ribbons. But if you look at the length of this line and the length of my paper, you'll notice I fall a little bit short. And this is where I bring in one of my favorite power tools. Let me show you how we're going to do this. We're going to cut a diagonal from corner to corner. The problem is my trimmer is only a 12-inch trimmer. So I'm going to take an 18-inch ruler, and I'm going to turn it over so it's face down because I need a very, very flat ruler to work with my little power tool, the Tonic mini rotary cutter. It has a small round blade in here that you can put on your work surface and pull it back toward you, and it actually makes a perfect cut. The reason you need a flat ruler is because the clearance between the plastic protective covering here and the blade is rather narrow. So if I use a flat ruler, I'll be successful when I attempt to use my cutter. Now I'm going to position this ruler from corner to corner, and the key to making your cut is to begin by placing the blade away from you, so you're going to pull it back toward you. So I'm placing the blade along the ruler's edge, I'm going to pulling it toward me, and now I've made a perfect cut. Now I'll take my ruler, I'm going to move it about 1/4 of an inch, so I have another straight line. It's going to be parallel to the cut I just made. Put it down, I'm putting moderate pressure, pulling it toward me. That's really important. And look what I just made. Save myself a trip to the store. I have the perfect paper ribbon, and it's going to be long enough. Well, I've done that a whole bunch of times, so here I have my pile of paper ribbons. So I'll set that aside, keep my ribbons here, and then we go back to that beautiful inked sheet that we have. We need to attach the ribbons to the page. The challenge here is, how do I get nice tiny little strips of adhesive along the edge here that aren't going to show? Well, here we have Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. The first one in the red is this wonderful Easy Runner. It puts out a really tiny little strip of adhesive, and you have no little backings to worry about removing or anything. This is a very handy little tool. And you can see how easy it goes on. A tip I'd like to tell you here is when you place the applicator down on the paper, pull back slightly and lift to the side, then your adhesive will not continue to flow out of the dispenser. That's how you're going to apply this perfect little adhesive to your pencil guideline. Then you can come in and take your ribbon and lay it in place. And then when you're finished adding all of these pieces, you can turn over your paper and trim it from the back side to finish it off. When you are finished, your page will be beautiful and ready for the next step, some decorative embellishments and adding our photos. First, I want to create a really lovely border edge here with some translucent paper so that I have an anchor for everything, but it's not going to hide my beautiful Harlequin border that I have in the background. So I have a piece of transparent paper, and I just want to cut some pieces off of this. For that, I'm going to use my power tool again. Now remember, I'm going to do this the same way, but this time I'm not going to use a ruler. I'm going to do something special that only this tool can do. I'm going to make a freestyle cut. Again, starting away from me, I'm going to pull that blade toward me, and this time I'm just going to make some curved motions as I go. Isn't that great? All right, I'm going to do that again to finish off my piece. And let me show you how we're going to attach these to the page. They are transparent somewhat, and it can be a trick to get these to attach to the page without your adhesive showing through. And that's why we need a specially formulated adhesive. This is the Easy Runner Vellum, and actually this is great for when you want to attach see-through papers such as vellums or translucents. When you put this adhesive down and put the vellum on top, the adhesive doesn't show through. And I'm going to put this on my paper. Now normally when we're scrapbooking and we attach adhesive to our page, we're usually attaching it to the item we're going to put on the page. In this case, we need to put it on the page first. Don't put the adhesive on the vellum. Sometimes you may need to use your fingertip to advance the adhesive slightly, put it on the page, and then pull away from the side. It's an important little tip. So when I place my vellum on top of this adhesive, it's not going to show through. Okay, so now I have added my feature photo. I finished adding my little vellum borders, and I like to use just a few other little pieces to finish off this layout. The first thing I'm going to do is add a decorative ribbon embellishment. This happens to be a Mizuhiki. It's like a paper ribbon cord. And I have some ribbon slides. These are made of paper that I'm going to slide onto the cord, but first I want to embellish them a little bit. Here we have this ribbon slide, and you see that little tiny piece. It's a little paisley that actually is raised up off the surface, and I love to put things on my page that have been raised up because I like how it adds dimension. The trick behind doing this is foam tape squares from Scrapbook Adhesives, and these are pre-cut with rounded corners, and it's foam squares that will help you elevate certain things off of your page to draw more attention to them, and plus the tabs are really easy to remove. These are terrific. The problem is they're a little big for the piece that I want to attach. All you simply need to do is come in with this tiny little scissors by Tonic Studios. It has a 5-inch blade, so it's nice and tiny for making small cuts. It has a non-stick coating on it, so if you're working with adhesives, they won't stick. And it has a micro serration, so when you're using it, you can really cut a lot of aggressive things with this tiny little scissors. Now with your ordinary scissors, you probably have some issues with the adhesive from the foam square sticking to the scissors. In this case, the adhesive just comes right off, and it's very easy then to work with and apply to your teeny tiny little embellishment. And I love how this came out. To attach it to the page, we want to raise this up as well. So when I turn it over, here you can see all the little foam squares. So you take off all your foam backing and then just lay your embellishment in place, and your layout is complete. Then you can keep working and adding more embellishments, more tags, more foam tape, some fibers, whatever you choose. But either way, I didn't have to plug a single thing in, and I really made a great layout with my power tools. So now let me show you a few other examples. Right here we have a card. We just came in and very simply added some glitter glue. On this layout, you can actually create the pattern and cut the diamonds out completely, leaving a tiny border, and then use it as a mask over several different pictures. So really, the possibilities are endless. Well, I hope you've enjoyed learning about this technique. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
For step-by-step instructions on how to create this week's project, download the design guide featuring special make-it-your-own bonus tips.